Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 1057 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 1057 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are at Stenny's Lake Country out here in Pewaukee. And we are out here in large part because of our friends at Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink with no bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. Plus, each Sun Cruiser is only 100 calories and 4.5% alcohol, making it perfect for anywhere you watch Party takes you. Crack one open today and let the good times cruise Milwaukee. Again, that is Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Check it out today. It's Packer cut down day today, as all cuts are due in here in the next hour or so. So we'll get you updated on the Packers cut list to start off the show. Plus, we'll check in with Andrew Wagner as we go inside the clubhouse. Forbes Sports Brewers writer. He's down in American Family Field. We'll check in with him coming up at 2:40. We'll also get to our green and gold update coming up this afternoon at 3:20. Charlie sounds of the day at 3:40. And then a special programming announcement to be made coming up here at 4 o'clock. That's right. We continue to add some more programming to the Fan. We'll announce that coming up again at 4 o'clock here this afternoon. Find out what that is all about at 4 o'clock. And I am telling you right now, I've never been to this Stenny's location. And Charlie, I kind of wish I lived in Pewaukee now.
I don't blame you. You said it was huge.
Kind of wish I lived here. I mean, I live in Oak Creek, and I love Oak Creek. I'm all about Oak Creek, but Oak Creek has nothing like this. Oak Creek does not have a legitimate sports bar like this. Maybe they'll open one in Oak Creek one of these days. Like, there's all that land in front of IKEA right there. They could open it. One of these would be perfect right in front of IKEA.
Or you could have a Sparky's right in front of IKEA.
No, man, these guys know how to make. These guys know how to make money. I mean, Stenny's on 5th and National. We're there tomorrow doing this show, so it's back-to-back days of Stenny's love here on the Fan. But this one here, folks, I was 22 minutes from the radio station to here. I would drive 22 minutes to come here all the time. This thing is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like vaulted ceilings with like wood paneling type deal on like some of the ceiling and so forth. Other parts has like drop ceiling, TVs everywhere, like picnic tables on the inside going down the middle for seating, a huge bar area in the center, and then even more stuff behind us on the other side, which I can't see because we have our backdrop up for the Fan, but it is absolutely gigantic. And they've got shuttles take you to and from Brewers games as well, shuttle buses sitting out here waiting to take people coming up today. And again, if I lived in Pewaukee, folks, why would you ever drive to American Family Field? I don't get it. Like, you could sit here, have a couple of beverages, have some food, hop on the shuttle, head on down to the Brewers game, check out the Brewers game, come back here, have a nightcap, and head on home. Like, this place is amazing, Charlie. That's all I got to say is it's amazing. Wait till Tommy gets out here. Tommy Wirtz is out here, the big old hunk of love. He's out here from 5 until 6:30 with the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, only station doing an hour or longer pregame show before every Brewers game all season long. And we'll hear from Pat Murphy from before today's game with his pregame presser. Go back and talk about yesterday's game. Andrew Wagner will join us. Austin Herdenia, Sportsbook manager at Potawatomi Sportsbook. He joins us on each and every leadoff show. He'll be on from 5 to 6:30 today as well. So when Tommy Wirtz gets out here, he's going to be blown away. I'm telling you right now, we'll be blown away. Windows everywhere. Like, okay. I almost did 5 minutes on just Stenny's Lake Country. And I'm telling you, I've been to many bars in my time. This one is pretty sweet. I'm telling you, it is pretty sweet.
You're opening up Tommy's eyes to so many different places. That guy's never been out of Cudahy before, so this is a brand new world for him.
Yeah, he said to me, he goes, I've never been west of Cudahy until I got the job at the radio station. I kind of thought to myself, that's kind of sad, isn't it? In a weird way, you kind of feel bad for the dude. Like, I love Tommy, but
Wisconsin's a beautiful state. There's so many places to explore, man. How have you not gotten out of Cudahy?
Forget the this trees in the water. Let's just talk about the bar scene.
Exactly.
The cool kick butt bars in Wisconsin. And I would have to tell you, this one is going to be on my list right now. So come on out, hang out with us at Stenny's Lake Country in Pewaukee. We got Sun Cruiser t-shirts, hats, koozies. We got relief pitcher fan t-shirts as well. A very cool t-shirt that you guys can come out here and have a chance to wear to the game tonight or wear around Pewaukee and promote the fan. That would be great. All right, Packer Cut Down Day today, like we said. Let's get into the Packer cuts. Now, I know that 90% of these people, you are not going to have any idea of who they are. You're going to be like, I don't know who they are. But as I said earlier today, filling in for Mason Crosby on his show from 9 to 11, that these people's dream of playing football farther, some of them will have died today. Now, there's the XFL opportunity right in the spring that maybe they latch on there. Maybe they try and go get a gig in the CFL and go and play indoor arena league football. Maybe that's something that they do. Well, Charlie, I was come to you because I was going to ask Mason today, but he was off. You walk off the field playing college football for that very last time at Elmhurst where you played college football. I would imagine that was a pretty emotional deal for you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, playing football, even at a school that wasn't the most successful at football, there's so much more than just being on the field and playing the sport. You're creating a brotherhood. You're going out there, and even just going through training camp, they've spent a lot of these guys 2 to 3 months together. They've been just alone with each other this whole entire time. So you build bonds, you build brotherhoods. You want to better yourself. You're chasing a dream. And the moment you know that dream is over and you have to start going and finding something else to do, it kind of flips your whole world upside down. And I think going to Elmhurst and going to a school that wasn't very good and was a D3 university was a lot easier for me to prepare myself beyond that life of football where I was dreaming at one point in my life to go and play at a professional level. And once I realized I wasn't going to be able to start pursuing, that was in radio. I think there's a lot of people that at the D1 level, at the NFL level, have never had that thought in their mind before. They always thought they were just going to be playing football until they were 45 and then they could retire and just keep working in football. But now that reality is coming a lot sooner than I think they pictured. And it's going to be a wake-up call for a lot of guys that, they may not be able to play football again. What do you do now?
Well, that's exactly it. What do you do now? That is the next thing, right? And nobody moved their family to Green Bay because, my daddy is trying out for the Packers and he didn't get drafted and we're going to see what happens, right? The family, the mom, the kid, whatever, they stay back and wherever they live in the country. The dad goes on his own. And we see what happens. And if I don't make the team, then I don't make the team and I come back home and we figured out what's next. But it is a sad time in a lot of people's lives today, yesterday, cut down day, for a lot of these NFL players who will never play football, at this level, possibly ever again. Now, some of them have that great talk, right? Where you're Brian Gutekunst. Hey, man, come on in. All right, dude. So this is the deal, Will. Let's say it's Will Shepard. That's who I wanted to keep, and they didn't. But you go to Will Shepard. Hey, well, this is the deal. We're going to let you go, but we want you as part of this organization. We think you can be that guy for us. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe it's the following year. Maybe because of injuries, you get, called up to play this year, with the Packers. If we have a numerous injuries, look at what we have so far. We've already got 3-4 guys hurt in the Packers wide receiving core. So clearly you might get a shot this year, but we want you on our practice squad. So hopefully, if nobody else claims you and picks you up, then we'd love to have you back on the practice squad if you're open for that. And we'll be in touch once the waive claim period goes through. That is the most positive thing that you're going to have happen to you when you get released today. If it's, hey, Will, it's been cool, man. Good luck in future endeavors, man. Really appreciate you. See you around. If that's what it is, then they're not bringing you back for the practice squad. And now your agent has to work double time to find a practice squad for you to play on somewhere else in the National Football League. And then the limited film that you have from the actual games themselves in preseason, you have to go forward. The one thing I don't know, and I would love to find out, so they film all of these training camp practices, right? They film the scrimmages because both teams for the scrimmages want to go back and look at the film of how guys did whatever else. What would be cool, and I bet you it doesn't happen, but what would be cool is if the video department went through and kept a running library of clips of these guys from drills, scrimmages, and stuff in training camp practice. And then if they get released to whatever else. They give them like a flash drive or whatever. Here you go, man. Here's some clips and stuff you can use to show some other teams from training camp practices, whatever else, Hard Knocks. That does not mean it doesn't happen, but that would be a first-class thing for an organization to do, Charlie.
I mean, I assume it happens. A lot of these, like, college football players, at least, their film is out there, usually just on Huddle. And when a guy transfers, as long as it's not practice film, they're willing to share that Huddle film with the coaching staff, the opposing team that this player is willing to transfer to. I think it's about the betterment of these people and making sure that they can continue their careers, even if it's not with your organization. I think you look at the NFL level, and I would say a lot of guys are getting their film shared around a little bit, especially if the coaching staff liked you, if an organization liked you. There's no reason to hide this guy going out there on a practice squad and showing what he can do on the practice squad and that he's balling out there with another team. I don't think that's really going to change expectations for any given roster organization looking for free or team to join as a free agent. I think the Packers would be willing to give them his training camp film because a lot of it probably doesn't show exactly what they're doing.
You know, the other part about this too, when we talk about these guys getting cut and then what is the next thing, some of these guys may go into coaching, right? Some of these guys may try and latch on as a scout for a team or try and be an intern for a front office or lock onto a college staff maybe and try there. Very few of these guys, I imagine, would just simply walk away from football and go, all right, I'm done. I don't need to do that anymore. I'm going to go sell insurance now. Like I just don't know if many of them do that. You always want to keep your foot in the water. Maybe they're doing sports talk radio. Maybe they start doing a podcast or whatever the case may be, somehow, some way to keep themselves involved. All right, let's talk about the Packers cuts. Who was released? What say you, Charlie Usen?
So if we head over to the list, it's a pretty lengthy list now by Andy Herman, who's been compiling everybody that has been cut. He has it by each reporter. So if you want to go see the full list for your host of Pack a Day Radio here from 8 to 9 on The Fan, he has Trey Hill, offensive lineman, J.J. Lippy, offensive lineman, tight end Johnny Lumpkin. That's an awesome name. I was sad to see that go. Defensive tackle Devontae O'Malley, offensive lineman Tyler Cooper, defensive tackle James Esther, wide receiver Cornelius Johnson, wide receiver Isaiah Nair, linebacker Isaiah Simmons, like I mentioned before, quarterback Taylor Elgersma, running back Tyrion Davis Price, offensive tackle Brant Banks, running back Israel Abinakanda, wide receiver McCole Hardman, offensive lineman Lasita Smith, running back Amar Johnson, wide receiver Julian Hicks, kicker Mark McNamee, wide receiver Will Shepard, free safety Jalen Simpson, tight end Messiah Swinson, cornerback Tyron Herring, defensive end Deslin Alexander, linebacker Jamon Johnson, quarterback Sean Clifford, offensive lineman Kadeem Telford, linebacker Jared Bartlett, cornerback Corey Ballantyne, cornerback Hayden King, and free safety Jonathan Baldwin is the complete list at the moment.
Wait a second. Did you say Kalen King?
I did indeed. He is down there, the second to last cut that was made.
Man. So Isaiah Simmons, I don't think that's too big of a surprise at this point that he gets cut, right? I think Kalen King is kind of a surprise. Kalen King showed out in that last game, and that is where you get into the whole, are you buying what the coaches are telling you? When the coaches say, all right, hey, man, here we go. Your chance to make this team, here we go. That was not his chance to make that team. They already had their mind made up that Kalen King was getting cut. It did not matter what Kalen King did in that game, because if it did matter what Kalen King did in that game, he would have made that team. Ballantyne is another guy gone. That's a veteran guy that you had here before that you moved on from. Then he got released from his team. You bring him back right away to see what he looks like, and you move on from him as well. And Charlie, do you know who took their job?
Who's that?
Bo Melton took their job, Charlie. Yeah, that's right. Bo Melton. I got laughed at, but Bo Melton took their job. And as Mason Crosby pointed out, Bo Melton's going to play. He's going to play on the field at the cornerback position throughout the year. Now, I don't know how many snaps he'll play a game, but he's going to be out there throughout a majority of the year. And if Bo Melton would not have looked good at cornerback, and if he would have struggled at cornerback in scrimmage and preseason, all of that, Bo Melton would be gone. And, you know, one of these two guys would have been here instead, and they would have parted ways with Bo Melton. But because he did so well, he costed either one of these two guys from that last cornerback slot.
Well, not just those two guys, but Tyron Herring was a guy that his name was talked about a little bit during the training camp period. I think when you look at those three guys getting cut instead of maybe a guy like Bo Melton, do you think that maybe worries you more about the cornerback position for this Packers team than you are excited for Bo Melton to be able to step into that role as maybe that fifth or sixth cornerback here?
I think right now, if you are the Packers, you're betting that Bo Melton athletic ability will be able to carry him and put him in a position to possibly be a top 4 cornerback on this roster for the rest of the year. That's what you're kind of betting on and banking on, that's how this is going to play out. The guy that we did not hear his name mentioned is Kamal Haddon, who it appears, I'm guessing, has made this team then, correct?
That would probably be the case. I also thought Kalen King was going to be safe, though. So at this point, there may be a chance that something changes too by the Miami Dolphins. So that's a name that would come off that. But there's going to be other veteran cornerbacks that are going to be on that market.
So now you have Nixon and Hobbs, right? So they're both there as a cornerback. Keyshawn Nixon, I just said that. Nixon, Hobbs, Valentine,
yep.
Kamal Haddon, and Bo Melton. So that's 5. Am I missing another cornerback?
Not off.
I mean, Bullard. Bullard does come up and play in the slot, right? So depending on where you want to put Javon Bullard at safety, or if you want to put him at cornerback, that would be another possibility of a guy that you could say registers in that cornerback room and would be on this roster. But I really did not think they would cut King, and I am kind of shocked by it. I thought maybe Valentine would get cut, but then if it came down between those two, I thought it would probably be King, maybe more upside, whatever the case is. But no, not so much.
Micah Robinson is the last name that we're missing.
Micah Robinson also makes the team. So, again, they go with younger guys for this role. And Kamal Haddon was on this practice squad last year. So it's not like they don't know. Again, what I go back to what I said before, which is if you're on this practice squad, you have the ability to get possibly called up during the year. And even more than that is these coaches watch you practice throughout the season and see you getting better. And then that's in their mind when they go into training camp the next season. These coaches are talking about, hey, man, Haddon looked pretty good. By the end of the year, he really had figured out the technique and this and that, whatever else. You know, that's a guy that I think could be on this team. And now, you know, they kind of circle your name and everybody's kind of watching to see what you do. And in the training camp process of this, and I think you could say he won his job on the practice squad before he even got to training camp this year.
I think so. I think you look at the way that he went out there and just had his name constantly on the beat reporters' tongues. It didn't matter who it was. Felt like each day at practice, during the games, it sounded like somebody had something good to say about him. And I think that's what you is be in the minds of every single person that's watching you, not only the coaching staff, but get your name out there, get your name being talked about by not just the reporters then, but by the fans as well. I think it's really important that he went out there and balled out, and now he's going to keep getting opportunities here. I think there's a lot of players that make a name for themselves later on in their careers because they just constantly have this work ethic. I think of a guy like Josh Norman off the top of my head who kind of came out of nowhere when he was in Carolina. They gave him that opportunity and he made something out of nothing, feels like. I don't think Hayden has, you know, all that potential there, but also you never know at this point.
No, you don't ever know. And that's the other part about this too, is we thought a lot of us knew about Isaiah Simmons when they brought him in, right? The athletic inside linebacker. I'm guilty as charged, right? I thought that he was going to be there with Walker and he was going to be there with Edgerrin Cooper. And this might be the most athletic linebacking crew in the NFL. And then you saw him play a couple preseason games and you realize Isaiah Simmons had no idea what he was doing on the football field. That was a problem. He got better, it appears, in his last game against Seattle, but it was too late. This is like when we talk about spring training for baseball. So many of these managers already have their roster made. You might have one or two guys they have question marks about that may move on or off, but for the most part, they already know what they have. It doesn't matter if player X hits 215 in spring. They're on the roster because they already know they're going with them regardless of what he looks like in spring. Somebody else could hit 400 at the same position. Doesn't matter. We're not taking you. We already had them made up. That's what this was going into that Seattle game. Like tomorrow, Goody's going to talk. LaFleur's going to talk. Tell me, who made this roster that was on the bubble that may not have made it based on how they played in that Seattle game? And I want to hear Goody go, well, it's a culmination of everything. I don't think for anybody it really comes down to the last game of preseason. I think we all kind of knew kind of the direction we were going prior to that game. I don't know if it really ever came down to that for anybody. And that's the thing. But meanwhile, in the locker room, you got coaches saying, hey, man, you have a good game here. Who knows how this plays out? We'll see. And it's all a bunch of crap, obviously, but based on the cuts that we saw today. We didn't ask a question yet. We didn't get to the topic yet because I've been talking nonstop about Stenny's Lake Country where we are. This place is freaking amazing. Never been out here before, but they've got Cheryl's to and from games. You live out in this area. You've never been here. Shame on you. This place is amazing. I drove 22 minutes to get here. I would drive 22 minutes every day to come to this place out here at Stenny's Lake Country. We're out here thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink with no bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. Make sure to have yourself a Sun Cruiser Vodka iced tea when you're out here at Stenny's Lake Country. Tomorrow, Stenny's 5th and National. Mitch Thunder Nellis will be filling in for me the rest of the week on this show as I am off to move my kid into UW lacrosse. So Thunder will be taking over and doing this show coming up tomorrow afternoon at Stenny's on 5th and National. I didn't ask you this, but who was the most surprising cut today for you, Mr. Charlie Usen?
I think when I look at that cut list, honestly, one of the most recent ones, Kalen King was kind of surprising to me. When I read his name there, when I came in earlier today, we were talking about all the different guys, me and Tommy being cut. He was showing me the list, and he was saying that, we're seeing Valentine get cut here, and it kind of feels like Kalen King is going to be safe. He's a guy that I've been a fan of since the Packers gave him an opportunity with that 7th. Him being cut doesn't mean that he won't still be a part of this organization. He can come back as a practice squad player. I think that's part of the reason they cut Sean Clifford again. I think he's going to come baback as a practice squad quarterback here for this Packers team, especially considering they cut Elgersma too and cut him first. So that's not as surprising. But Kalen King is a guy that I feel like was going to be able to get an opportunity on this team, and it just didn't materialize. The other name is Kadeem Telfer. I know he hasn't played all that well, but unless they're planning on making a signing really quick for a backup offensive lineman, I don't really know if just getting rid of talent in that group, even if it's not the best talent, is the best decision. On the other hand, the Lions let go of offensive tackle Dan Skipper, who's one of the better backup offensive linemen in the league. I think that could be a good sign.
Tommy came with the same stuff with me earlier today. Tommy Words, because him and I were doing the Mason Crosby show earlier today from 9 to 11. Mason was off today, and Mitch Thunder Nellis was off today. So Tommy and I were doing the show. I don't know, man. I'm not a big Dan Skipper guy. I guess, you take the Lions leftovers and put them in Green Bay. And I don't know if you were listening earlier today. Tommy and I had this discussion about the offensive line, okay? So see if you could stay with me here. His thought is Zach Tom moves to guard, right? Even though they're paying him tackle money. So if the whole idea is we're going to play the best five are playing. Is Sean Ryan part of the best five? If you think Jordan Morgan is the left tackle and he outplayed Rasheed Walker, which is crap. But if that's what you think, right? And Jordan Morgan's the future at left tackle, couldn't you go into this and say Jordan Morgan's at left tackle, Banks is at left guard, Jenkins is the center, Tom's at right, you're starting 5 going forward. You got a solid tackle out on the right side. You've got, hopefully, fingers crossed, a solid left tackle in Jordan Morgan. You've got more beef at right guard than you had before with Zach Tom. You've got more beef out there at right tackle with Rasheed Walker. You're big inside with Jenkins now at center in place of what we had before in Josh Myers. That offensive line is relatively intriguing to me. And then you have, Sean Ryan as that backup guard center if anything were to happen. So let's say Banks goes down or whatever, Sean Ryan just slides right in, no big deal. If Walker goes down, Tom kicks back outside, Ryan slides back into right guard, and you play. Now you really got yourself in a position where Jordan Morgan can start. You're not screwing Rasheed Walker on money. He gets to start, even though it's at right tackle. And Ryan's that backup swing guy. I like the idea. I don't think they got the guts to do it, but I like the idea.
I also think that's something you should have done 2 months ago if you were going to do that.
You really couldn't because Rasheed Walker's been hurt.
But that's the thing. I think right now, one of your biggest keys and one of the biggest keys last season on offense was the consistency that you got out of that offensive line. And 15 out of the 16 games, you were starting the same 5 offensive linemen in the same spots. I think with the configuration you're talking about here, you are not having a single player in the same spot that they were last season. And that worries me a little bit. That takes a little bit of time to get that gelling down. Just because a guy can't play a position doesn't mean you just want to move him to that position without kind of seeing how it will affect the chemistry. It's easier to play all together as one when you already know your role in your job. And I think when you are moving a guy like Zach Tom over to right guard, yes, that's going to work. Eventually, he is going to be a good player there. But I think it's also going to throw a kink into the group of 5 in total. And now you're talking about moving all 4 of the other guys or having new people in those groups. I think that's kind of a bad recipe when you're also talking about Jordan Love, who we've already had concerns about injuries up to this point. I don't think he's injury prone like we talked about. That's not really a real thing. But at the same time, the likelihood of him getting injured again goes up when your offensive line isn't working together as a cohesive unit. And with 5 different guys in 5 different spots, that's not going to be a cohesive unit, at least right away.
You make the trade for Kennard from the Philadelphia 76ers because Belton screwed you on this deal. That's why that trade happens. Because if Belton would have played up to his second-round status and looked like he could play that position, tackle or guard, if they weren't scared that he was going to screw this up, they wouldn't have had to make that move because Belton could have been the swing guard or tackle, pick what you want. And then Rasheed Walker, Jordan Morgan, whoever doesn't make left tackle, could have been the swing the other way. They've lost, I think, trust, faith in Belton going out there and having to play consistently. So they had to go get a veteran to come in here and play. Belton plays well. You don't have to worry about these musical chairs on the offensive line. I still think, realistically going forward, that Belton and Tom are the future on the right side. Morgan's the future at left tackle, providing he plays well. And then I don't know after that. I mean, Banks is signed to a long-term deal, fine. Jenkins we'll see for another year after this year. He's still under contract. And then, again, that right side is big and physical if it's Belton and Tom on the right side, especially if Tom's at guard and Belton's at right tackle. Because then Tom becomes a bigger guard versus a smaller tackle. Belton is big no matter what position you put him at. He's gigantic. And now you get 2 guys, road graders, hopefully, that you can move people in front of you like Philadelphia does and get Marshawn Lloyd out in space if he's ever healthy, get Josh Jacobs out and going, or Wilson or Chris Brooks. I think that is where they want this to be, say a year from now.
I think so too, but I also feel like when you look at the Eagles offensive line right now, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson aren't exactly the biggest, meanest dudes. They're both extremely athletic, and I think that's what gives them the benefit. I think Jordan Mailata is a former rugby player, and he's extremely quick with his feet and knows how to use his feet very well.
Why do people play rugby? Nah, I'm too soft. There's no way. That is way too violent of a sport, man. There's like no protection. You just get your brains beat in. Like, I have no interest in that.
I don't know.
But I give you the whole tough athletic guy if you played, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
I think you also, when looking at the Eagles offensive line, have to notice that last year, Mekhi Becton at that left guard position was huge for that team because he's a bigger guy, because he can be that mean type of player. I think the more modern offensive lines don't have the quicker players in the interior offensive line. They have the meaner players and the bigger players in the interior of the offensive line because defensive tackles and nose tackles are starting to get bigger and more aggressive and more athletic. You're not really seeing too many of those defensive tackles that are quick anymore. You want to see the guys that match up with the interior guys. That's why Kenny Clark moves back over to nose tackle, because that experiment last season just wasn't working when he had to go against a more athletic offensive tackle or guard tackle duo. Have players that match up better with those offensive tackles on the outside. So I think if I'm looking at this Packers offensive line and you want to match what the Eagles are doing, you put Belton at right guard and you keep Tom at right tackle.
There you go. He is Charlie Usen, former college offensive lineman. See Sparky Fifer with you. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. We're out here. Stenny's Lake Country. This place is absolutely freaking gorgeous. I don't know. I think I would drive 45 minutes to an hour to come hang out here. I think I would do 45 minutes to an hour somewhere in that area. This place is super cool, man. I'm just telling you. We're out here thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink with no bubbles to fill you up. It's a perfect game day sipper. Don't forget shuttles to and from the game as well. Brewers D-backs coming up tonight. Leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wirtz, the big hunk of love. He'll be out here from 5 until 6:30, taking you up to first pitch of that game. Also, don't forget Football Talk on the Fan is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Coming up, we'll talk with Andrew Wagner. We'll go inside the clubhouse. He's down at American Family Field, like always, covering the Brewers for Forbes Sports. We'll talk to him coming up here in about 10 minutes. I'll talk a little bit about this Brewers starting pitching staff after another relatively short outing, good outing before it blew up on him, from Brandon Woodruff last night. That's straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at Stenny's Lake Country. We are the real thing. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Houston producing today's show. And speaking of Wendy's, if you love Wendy's classic chocolate vanilla frosty flavors, there's some big news. There are all new Frosty Swirls and now Frosty Fusions. It's the same creamy treat you've always loved. Now they flavor refresh. So what are these new flavors? Well, you know what we got, right? Frosty Swirls, strawberry, brownie batter, and caramel. Remember, you can have the vanilla or the chocolate frosty base with this. Now they have Frosty Fusions, Oreo brownie, caramel crunch, that's like pieces of toffee in it, and Pop-Tart strawberry. So clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's all new Frosty flavors, a refresh on a classic. It's got to be Wendy's. And again, if you're asking, my favorite by far is the Oreo brownie with that chocolate frosty base, because I love me some chocolate. Do you know what I'm addicted to right now, Charlie? Speaking of chocolate, you're going to laugh at me, but I was at the store again last night over at Meijer in Oak Creek, right there in Drexel Town Square, and I was over there, and I was what was I getting? I was getting something for dinner. I don't remember what it was, but whatever. So walking around, and then they have like this, save $5, buy $5, save $5 or whatever the case was. and there was a deal on 24 packs of like Pepsi Zero for like $8.99 or something. If you bought 5, save 5. Normally those things are like $13-14. I was like, well, I'm going to walk around and find me 5 things where I can save 5, even if I got to spend more money to get that deal, right? Because I'm a sucker. So I go walking through. I'm addicted to these peanut butter chocolate cookies at Meijer. The Meijer brand. If you like the peanut butter chocolate Girl Scout cookies, you know what were those called? Tag-alongs to Girl Scout cookies?
Peanut butter patties.
Right. Peanut butter patties. If you go to Meijer, they're like, right now they're on sale like 2 for $5. Meijer should be paying me for talking about them. 2 for $5, right? $2.50 a pack, and you get a nice container. They are as good, if not better, than the Girl Scout tag-along cookies, or whatever they are called for Girl Scout cookies. It's the Meijer brand, and I'm telling you, I don't know if you're a peanut butter chocolate guy, Charlie, but that is the way to go.
I am the peanut butter chocolate guy, Sparky.
You are?
Yes. I am like, I swear my favorite candy on earth is anything peanut butter chocolate. Yeah.
Okay. I have 2 things of it at home, and I will bring you in a container of those cookies to try. It's the Meijer generic brand. It's not like Nabisco or anything like that. It's the Meijer brand, the peanut butter chocolate cookies. There you go.
All right. I'll have to check them
out.
All
right. Yes, it's so good. You told me in the break, Andrew Wagner.
I did say that.
Andrew Wagner of Forbes Sport, the guy that comes on like every show on this station. He's coming up in the next segment. He's live in American Family Field before Brewers and D-backs. And you're telling me this old guy claims he's going to join us on video on YouTube?
That's what he told me. He is claiming out there. He made me send the email and everything. He says he's getting set up right now.
Oh, chance. What are we talking about? He doesn't know how to click on a link to get to a video or anything like that.
That old guy. He seems like he's pretty technically advanced for what he puts out there, at least. He knows how to tweet all the time.
He tweets out videos very well and all of that. Like, you could have told me a lot of things were going to happen today in my life. That would never have come up as a possibility that Wagner would join us on YouTube streaming. Like, I'm very happy. Like, it put a smile on my face. It made me laugh. If this train wrecks, we'll just call him.
I think he's just doing it.
Get him on that way.
I think he's just doing it because I made fun of his mustache earlier because he was making fun of my facial hair. So I think he's just doing it to prove that his mustache is cool or something. I don't know.
You think that's what this is about?
I think that's what it's about. I think that's it.
All right. Fine, we'll find out. He comes up next. Again, coming out here, Stenny's Lake Country. This is exactly where you want to be. Let me tell you that right now. It is gigantic. And all the same food that you've ate at Stenny's at 5th and National, where this show is tomorrow from 2 until 6:30. It's the same menu that you're going to have out here at Stenny's Lake Country, except it is way larger than that one on Stenny's on 5th and National. It is amazing. Come on here, check that out for sure. We're out here thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka and Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka, refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. No bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. If you know anything about Stenny's, you know Stenny's is known for their wings, man. It's all about the wings at Stenny's. But I'll tell you the other thing that I really like, to build your own pizza. I like building my own pizza. Kind of a fan of that, providing I'm not with my kids. Because if I'm with my kids, then, Charlie, it's cheese only or cheese and sausage only. And those are the only 2 options that I have if the kids are with.
So what you got to do is start adding other cheeses on there, though. You got to start like making it a fancy cheese pizza, Sparky. And then they'll start liking that there's some different kinds of cheeses on there. Maybe they'll start liking other flavors. That's the key.
No. So I remember why I was at the grocery store last night. So last night we had grilled cheese and tomato soup, right? Mm-hmm. That was a deal last night. And she likes the generic cheeses, whatever grocery store we get from. And there's something not right with generic cheeses. I'm sorry. No. Give me some real wholesome Velveeta, right? For the grilled cheese. That's what I was there for last night. I ended up getting Velveeta cheese. But all this fancy cheese on pizzas, no, I'm out. No, just regular cheese.
You know
is
what
fine.
The secret is? Cream cheese on pizza. Try it.
You told me that before.
I will double down, die on that hill. Yeah, cream cheese on pizza is where it's at.
Peacock is out here. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, Jack's all about Jack Pembroke out here. We nicknamed him Peacock. Long story. Coming up next, Andrew Wagner will go inside the clubhouse from American Family Field. Get ready for Brewers and D-backs here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios. Powered by the Potawatomi Sports at Stenny's Lake Country. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Stenny's Lake Country out here in Pewaukee. This place is massive. It's beautiful. It's got amazing food, wings, build your own pizza, all kinds of great sandwiches you can have out here as well. We'll be out here till 6:30. This show, Wisconsin Sports Daily, out here 2 to 5. Then the big old hunk of love, Tommy Wirtz, will be out here from 5 until 6:30 with the leadoff show. Talk about the Potawatomi Sportsbook getting ready for Brewers and D-backs. And we're out here thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka, refreshingly smooth and easy to drink with no bubbles to fill you up. It's a perfect game day sipper. Also, you should know that we have shuttles going to and from Brewers games out here in Pewaukee, people. Out here in Pewaukee, you get on a shuttle. It takes you to the game. You park here, close to your house, probably if you're in the Pewaukee area, and it brings you right on back. So you can have some lunch or dinner before you head down there. Get on the bus, go down there, come back, have some cheese curds or something before you head home with a beverage or two, and on your way you go. This Stenny's Lake Country is amazing. Also, equally amazing is that guy who I think figured out how to work video. He's waiting. It was inside.
Wagner of Forbes Report. Wendy's. Inside the Clubhouse is brought to you by Focus Baseball. Sign your kids up now for July open tryouts at focusbaseball.com. Ages 6 to 17.
All right, so the fan guest hotline we go, powered by Gruber Law. He is the one, the only Andrew Wagner. Follow him on Twitter by Andrew Wagner. Now, why don't you smile? Act like you're happy to be here. Be happy, Drew Wagner.
You know me better than that, Stephen. You know me better than that. I was actually just typing up a very long list of tweets with medical updates that the Brewers just passed along to us.
Oh, well, then feel free to share. Feel free to share the medical updates.
You can also find this at by Andrew Wagner on Twitter. But here's the rundown. Grant Anderson has posterior tibialis tendonitis. I am not a doctor, which has been pointed out to be by the parents of many exes. His IL stint is expected to be minimum. They're hoping to get him back early September. Robert Gasser is going to pitch tonight at AAA Nashville. He's slated for 5 innings, 75 pitches. Still hoping to have him back near the end of the month, early next. DL Hall has started doing rotational exercises and could start a throwing program soon. So that's some good news. Logan Henderson is also working through some rotational exercises. He could start a throwing program soon. They're looking at late base tonight for AAA Nashville. Joey Ortiz is working through a running progression as he deals with the hamstring. He's at about 85% intensity, but also doing infield and some hitting work. Hoping to have him back by the Philly series. And lastly, Rob Z is going to pitch tonight at AAA Nashville. He's expected to throw an inning or 25 pitches, and they're hoping to have him back near the end of the month, early next month. And there is your medical update, brought to you by a sponsor to be named later.
There is no way that Robert Gasser is pitching tonight. That is not accurate. I'm
sorry. It's the 29th.
And I just watched that dude pitch on TV the other night. And I was like, maybe that was a replay of a game. I thought it was live. So then I went to look at the game log, and sure enough, no, he did pitch just the other day on the 24th, 4 2/3, couple of runs, 3 hits, and did give up a home run in that game. Speaking of Robert Gasser, we talked about this earlier on the Mason Crosby show, me and Tommy, about the idea of Robert Gasser being a guy that they can bring out of the bullpen in the playoffs, similar to Ashby, because more than likely DL Hall will not be ready. So do you see that as a possibility? A guy that hasn't really been here for, 8 or 5 of the 6 months of the entire season somehow ends up on this postseason roster?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could totally see that. Listen, they're stretching him out right now because it never hurts to stretch a guy out. And you never know when you're going to need another starter. And if
we kick Mizorowski to the bullpen. That's when you're going to need another starter.
I think the plan is probably to use Gasser out of the bullpen, but they're stretching him out right now as a starter just in case, because it's easier to do that now than it is later on. So you have that option in your back pocket. But I totally see him being able to come out of the bullpen and give you a couple of innings, especially in a postseason series.
To me, it makes sense. But when you expand rosters, he's the one that comes up. And then Mizorowski kicks to the bullpen for the remainder of the year. And Gasser then falls into that starting rotation to finish out the month of September. Mizorowski then pitches, high leverage situations for an inning here or 2 innings there. And they use Mizorowski like they used Josh Hader back in the day when he was Wild Thing as a starting pitcher down in the minors. They brought him up and said, hey, you're going to be a starter, but we just going to use you here for the time being. And then, of course, he never got that job back. I think Mizorowski will be back starting next year. But I definitely see this as a situation where Gasser gets the rotation, maybe at some point in September, finish out the season, and then Mizorowski is the guy that comes out of the bullpen in anticipation of continuing in the bullpen come the postseason, and then it's Woodruff, Peralta, and Priester probably with Quintana as that fourth guy starter if you want 4 starters in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that it's shaped out and trying to plan ahead, but it's definitely a situation for the down the road members of the front office and coaching staff, because right now they've got enough on their plate just trying to figure out how to piecemeal this group until those guys.
Jake Bauer's going to get cut. You think he's going to get cut? I think he's going to get cut. With Rhys Hoskins coming back, you already have Vaughn. I don't see a world in how he stays on this roster, Andrew.
Yeah, I don't either. If it was still expanding to 40 players, I think it's a completely different story, right. Obviously. I don't know how they make the math work. I mean, listen, Tommy and I were talking about this last night. There's going to be a lot of difficult decisions that have to be made in a couple of weeks with all the guys that are coming back and the roster's expanding and trying to shore everything up for that run and then figuring out the postseason roster. I mean, it's going to be tough, but at the same time, it's a really good problem to have. There could be a lot worse. You could be trying to figure out how to fit guys onto a roster when you don't have enough good players. And they're looking at a situation where they're going to kind of have an excess, and they're going to have to part with guys that are important to this team that have helped them get to this point. But that's the nature of the business, and sometimes you have to make those tough decisions to get where you want to go.
I agree with you on that. Jackson Churio, the other guy that's going to be coming back here shortly as well. That means the end of Lockridge, I would imagine, on this major league club, and he gets optioned down to Nashville. So I would assume his time is only probably a few more games here before Lockridge goes down to AAA.
Yeah, and then that probably seems like listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Lockridge finds his way onto the playoff roster, because having a pinch runner is definitely something that is helpful in the postseason, and he is really, really, really good at that. So I would not be surprised if they find a way to fit him back on the roster.
Start with Andrew Wagner of Forbes Sports. He joins us here as we are broadcasting live from Stenny's Lake Country out in Pewaukee. Come on out, hang out with us. Leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wirtz out here from 5 to 6:30 as well. Let's talk a little bit about the starting pitching situation in Brandon Woodruff. Right, so you pitch him give him that extra day off. He comes back yesterday, gives up one hit that, again, I hate baseball scoring. That should have been an error on Monasterio. It wasn't. They gave him a hit. Fine. So now he's 5 shutout innings. We get to the 6th. If this is a playoff game, there's no way Murphy allows him to go as long as Murphy allowed him to go last night. But he ends up giving up 5, and it's a 6-5 game by the time he gets out of there. There in the 6th inning. Do we think the plan is going to be to continue to give him that extra day off here as we go throughout the remainder of the season?
We talked about that with Murphy yesterday, and that's definitely what they're going to try to do, is try to give Woody the 6-day rotation instead of the 5. And quite frankly, Murph said, they're trying to find a way to do that with all their guys. It's just really difficult. Oh my goodness! To do.
So that means
when the bullpen's in a situation that's in, it's hard to do. But they're trying to find ways to get their guys extra rest going down the stretch.
Well, that means Gasser's not taking Mizorowski's spot. That means Gasser's going to be in this rotation as like that 6th guy. I would imagine that's how this is going to work, right? Because you'll have Gasser come up.
That could be, but it all depends on what happens between now and then. Like, it's great in theory to give these guys extra rest, but again, you can't carry a bunch of relievers that you throw one day and they're no good for 3 days. Like, that eats up at your bullpen. So they're trying to figure out a way to do it. Does that mean they're going to? I don't know. It's hard enough to do with one guy, in this case Woodruff, but then to do it with a bunch of guys is a little bit harder. What does help the situation is that once they get through this 19 and 18 stretch, they do have a significant amount of off days over the final couple of weeks, which could help them bump guys back a little bit and make some changes there. So there's a lot of moving pieces to this. And right now they're taking it one day at a time because that's really all you can do.
That lineup last night was the best lineup he's put out in days. I really like that lineup, even though maybe, it didn't score as much as you wanted it to score. It put together, that inning where it was hit after hit. Average exit velocity was like 80 miles an hour, I think. So it wasn't like they were killing the ball off the outfield wall, but they were doing what they do, which is get on base, move the runner over, and keep on moving the train and scoring runs. And again, doing it without that long ball in that situation until later in the game when Caleb Durbin ate his Wheaties and got a hold of another one, and all of a sudden he's got a chance to be at 10 or more home runs. Frelick's got a chance to be at 10 or more home runs. I don't think I would have bet either one to be at 10 or more home runs before the season started. And if you remember before the season, everybody was talking about Frelick changing his body, getting bigger, doing the weight program, doing all that stuff. Nobody really knew anything about Durbin before he got to Milwaukee. Is this real? Are both of these guys able to hit 10 to 15 homers a year, do you think, going forward?
I think so, because and this is something that I bring up all the time with Tommy, and Murphy said it, the guys have said it. It's the philosophy that home runs more often than not are thrown and not hit. And when you've got guys that are really good at swing decisions and ball strike recognition, guys that aren't traditionally known for power can show more power because they identify the right pitches to crush. Which is a really nerdy thing to say, and it sounds really analytical, but it's not. It's common sense. When you're not swinging at pitches out of the zone and chasing, and you're looking for the balls that are down the middle, or you're looking for the mistake, and you're able to recognize those, especially recognize them early, you can sit back and you can put a good swing on them, and you can absolutely demolish a baseball. The line that Murph likes to use is no matter how hard a guy throws, you can time up a jetliner. If you time it out rightly. So these guys are smart enough at the plate where they can recognize the right pitches that they can do damage with, and they don't try to go out there and do damage to the pitches that, let's face it, are basically good for slapping into the gap for a single or a double.
Is Andrew Wagner going inside the clubhouse here, Forbes Sports, a Brewers writer. Follow him on Twitter at @ByAndrewWagner. Got all kinds of great stuff there with information, videos from after the game, inside the clubhouse, all kinds of good stuff. Again, first pitch tonight slated for at 6:40 coming up this evening. And we'll get all the updated information on that game coming up in just a little bit. Jacob Mizorowski on the mound tonight for the Brewers. What are realistic expectations for Jacob Mizorowski at this point? I mean, he started off guns a-blazing, was amazing, and people couldn't even get a damn hit off of him. And then he gets dinged up.
I don't know.
He comes back from getting dinged up, and now all of a sudden guys are hitting him. And he's walking guys.
It's hard to say what to expect anymore. I mean, we said that at the beginning because he exceeded everyone's expectations, and right now he's looking exactly how you'd expect a guy coming up and getting his first taste of the big leagues to look, which is uncanny because he set the bar so high. It's kind of a mixed bag right now, and the thing is, if he goes out there and mows down the Diamondbacks his first two trips up, you're still kind of sitting there waiting for that shoe to drop. Like, well, what's going to happen? Because when he gets into trouble, he gives up that one walk. One walk has rarely with him become multiple. And that's something a young pitcher has to work through and has to be able to figure out. I think he's still doing that. I think he's capable of that. I think it'll help that he's, playing back at home and has had some time, and he's had these experiences now where he's learned, what not to do. It's a matter of putting that into practice. And listen, it's going to be no easy task tonight. Despite the Diamondbacks record, their offense is really damn good. I mean, pitching has been the Diamondbacks' problem all season. Murph said it again last night. People got kind of up in arms when we talked about the Giants being built to win. Well, they were built to win. They put that team together with the thought of being a contending World Series team. It didn't work out. The Diamondbacks, too, they're 2 years removed from the World Series. They still have most of those guys in the lineup. It's still a pretty powerful lineup, even without your boy Suarez in there. The only thing that's kept the Diamondbacks from being good this year is an absolutely devastating rash of injuries to their pitching staff. So, Miz is going to go up there. He's going to have a tough time tonight. Hopefully he's learned these last couple of starts and knows that he can't nitpick and tunnel around and has to be effective with his off-speed stuff too.
He is Andrew Wagner. Follow him on Twitter by Andrew Wagner. Inside the Clubhouse, brought to you by Focus Baseball. Sign up for the fall mini camps today. You do not have to be a member of Focus Baseball to sign up for the mini camps, but you get excellent coaching and get your kid a little bit better day by day. Again, focusbaseball.com. Mr. Wagner, thank you so much. We'll hear you coming up between 5 and 6:30 with the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wirtz out here at Stenny's Lake Country. Thank you, sir. There he is. That was the first. That was. I still can't believe that just happened. Like that really kind of made my whole thing. I'm off tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and I don't think anything's going to top that. I'm sure Thunder will do a great job tomorrow. He's at Stenny's on 5th and National tomorrow doing the show, and I'm sure it'll be great. But I can't imagine Charlie's going to text me anything bigger than Andrew Wagner just appeared on video. If Andrew Wagner would have appeared on video tomorrow and I would have missed it, I would have been mad.
I think it would have been pretty hilarious if you decided to go on video when the first day you were.
Yes,
that would have been awesome.
First day, yes, that would have
immediately texted you about that.
Yes, I'm sure you would have, and I would not have been happy about it. I am happy about the Potawatomi Sportsbook, though. That's where they want to hold your fantasy football draft. That bad boy is 2 levels, 6,500 square feet. The center screen is 2,000 square feet. That's bigger than a lot of our houses at this point. That's how big that screen is. 30 sporting events at one time you can watch at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You will get private access to the second level of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. They have their own private elevator. So 14 teams or less can be in the Fantasy Football League, and you hold your draft there. Smorgasbord of food available. 3 drink tickets per team, per person in the league. They give you a podium, draft board, stickers, all of that stuff to have your fantasy football draft there on the second level at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. For more details, go to potawatomi.com/sportsbook. potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Sign up for your fantasy football draft. Time's running out. I mean, we're not that far away from the season starting. So again, potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Pick your day and time, and they will take care of the rest for you. Coming up on the other side of this quick timeout, we're going to have a programming announcement coming up at 4 o'clock. That's right. More additional programming being added to the fan. So stay tuned for that at 4 o'clock programming announcement you want to hear. Straight ahead now, we're going to talk about this conversation that Aaron Rodgers, now Steelers quarterback, had with Bill Huber of SI, who I just had the good fortune of talking to yesterday on the Mason Crosby show, an exclusive one-on-one interview. And we'll ask you your thoughts on Rodgers coming back with Pittsburgh versus kind of what it was with Favre in Minnesota. That's all coming up. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Stenny's Lake Country, brought to you by Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea.